Kai feels the danger and does not know where to look. Let us start with Kai, because what is happening around him right now is the specific kind of slow-building dread that good soap opera suspense produces, where you know something terrible is coming and the characters do not, and that gap between the audience's knowledge and the character's awareness is one of the most effectively uncomfortable places this genre can put you. Someone has been photographing Trina for a very long time. The bulletin board that was revealed weeks ago, covered in close-up photographs taken without Trina's knowledge across what appears to be at least a year, established the stalker's timeline. This is not someone who developed an obsession recently. This is someone who has been watching Trina with patient, sustained, deliberate focus for longer than anyone around her knew was happening. The camera work is precise. The photographs are close but not face-to-face, which means the person taking them is either using equipment with significant reach or has found positions of observation that allow proximity without detection. Neither option is comforting. The specific act that signaled escalation most clearly was the digital removal of Kai from a photograph. That is not a passive act of obsession. That is intention made visual. The stalker looked at an image of Kai and Trina together and removed Kai from the picture. Not the photograph of Kai alone, the photograph of the two of them together. That act says what words would say more explicitly. Kai does not belong in this picture. The picture should only have Trina in it. Now Kai is feeling it. He does not have the bulletin board to look at. He does not have the confirmed evidence that Trina has a stalker. What he has is the specific physical intelligence of someone who has noticed that they are not alone in the way they usually are alone. The feeling of being watched when you cannot identify the watcher. The instinct to look behind you without knowing quite what you expect to find. He is keeping his awareness quiet, not visibly alarmed, not turning around dramatically or confronting anyone, just moving through the world with his attention slightly elevated, his senses slightly more on edge than usual. And in that state of heightened quiet awareness, the thing that is really frightening him is the thought that is forming underneath the immediate discomfort. If someone is following him, the purpose is probably not Kai himself. The purpose is Trina. Following Kai when Kai is not with Trina establishes where Kai is and when he is alone, which means establishing when Trina is alone somewhere else. The stalker potentially splitting attention, someone watching Kai, someone watching Trina, is the operational escalation that Kai cannot yet fully name, but is beginning to feel. Here is where the dangerous mistake the spoilers reference becomes relevant. Kai knows about Willow's connection to the situation with Michael and the affidavits. He knows Willow was furious. He knows that Willow has demonstrated across the summer that she is capable of action when she feels threatened. The natural assumption, the one that is emotionally logical even if it is factually wrong, is that Willow might have hired someone to follow them, or worse, to do something to them. Retaliation for going to Michael. For signing the affidavits. For putting information in Michael's hands that Willow never wanted him to have. That assumption is understandable. It is also catastrophically wrong, because Willow is not the source of this particular threat. Michael has Willow in a tight enough corner that sending someone after Trina and Kai would be the most self-destructive move available to her. She is under surveillance, living on the Quartermain property, knowing that Michael has documentation of her worst act. Willow is many things, but she is not acting from a position of operational freedom right now. The real threat comes from somewhere Kai has no reason to be looking. And because his attention is going to be pointed at Willow, at the most obvious and emotionally satisfying target for his fear, he is not going to be watching the direction the actual danger is coming from. That is the mistake. The one that could be deadly.
Trina needs to know.
Not to alarm her unnecessarily, but because she is moving through her world without understanding that someone has been building a visual record of her existence for over a year, and that the escalation from photographs to something physical may be closer than anyone currently realizes. The musical career that has been putting Trina more visibly in the public eye, the fake romance campaign that Simon has been pushing, the greater profile that comes with it, is giving the stalker more access, not less. Port Charles needs to get ahead of this before the stalker decides that removing Kai from a photograph is not enough. Jason and Britt at the baseball game and the conversation that ends something. Now let us talk about the ball game, because the photograph that surfaced in Soap Opera Digest is one of those preview images that tells you everything you need to know without a word of caption. Jason in an Yelq baseball uniform. That detail alone is significant enough to deserve its own moment of acknowledgement. Josslyn has spent the better part of his adult life defining himself specifically in opposition to the Quartermain identity. The name change was the declaration of that, Jason Morgan rather than Jason Quartermain, choosing the name that represented who he had become rather than who he had been born as. The Quartermain world, with its corporate concerns and its family politics and its baseball teams in company uniforms, was the world he walked away from. Seeing him in that uniform says something about where he is now. Not a full reversal, not a return to the identity he rejected, but an openness to the Quartermain side of his life that was not there before Jakarta. Before what he went through in that facility reshaped his understanding of what matters and what does not. The Danny priority, the commitment to being a present father in a way that Jason never fully was before, has apparently opened a door to the family structure that Danny is part of and that, by extension, is part of Jason. Carly suggesting Yelq. Jason not immediately dismissing it. And now a baseball game between Yelq and someone else, with Jason in the uniform of the company that was always there waiting for him to accept it. But Britt is also at this game. And she and Jason end up sitting on a bench having a conversation that is clearly not about baseball. The look on Jason's face in the photograph is the look of a man who is doing something he has been trying to find the right words for. Serious but kind. Committed to the honesty of the conversation, but not cruel in the delivery of it. He is telling her something hard in the specific way that people who genuinely care for someone tell them hard things, with full awareness that it is going to hurt, and with equal commitment to saying it anyway, because not saying it would be worse. He is not leaving her for someone else. That much is clear from the framing. This is not the conversation where Jason reveals he has developed feelings for another woman, and he needs to be honest about that. This is the conversation where Jason tells Britt that where he is right now, who he is right now, after Jakarta, after everything, does not have room for what she deserves from a romantic partner. Danny is the priority. The full, absolute, non-negotiable priority. Not in the way that priorities sometimes work, where the important thing gets attended to first, and then you move to the next thing. In the way where it is the organizing principle of every other decision. A romantic relationship requires presence and attention and emotional availability that Jason is giving entirely to his son right now. Giving it to Britt at this stage would be giving her something less than she deserves. Britt is going to understand this. She will not enjoy it. The specific kind of not enjoying something that comes from recognizing that the person ending things is doing the right thing is one of the most painful emotional experiences available, worse, in some ways, than being left for something smaller or less legitimate. You cannot even be angry properly. You just have to acknowledge that it is true and move through the hurt. The summer arc being pointed to, Britt and Tristan heading somewhere, makes considerably more sense now. Because what Tristan offers Britt is exactly what Jason cannot right now. A person who is fully present. Who is not building something with a son while also managing trauma, while also transitioning careers, while also figuring out who he is on the other side of the worst thing that ever happened to him. A person who can just be there. The ballgame setting is quietly perfect for this conversation.
Something ordinary.
Something that should be about fun and competition and community. The serious talk happening in that space makes the contrast between what was supposed to be and what actually is sharper than it would be in a more dramatic setting. Britt deserves someone who can give her their full self. The path to Tristan begins here. The larger picture and what all of this means. And finally, let us look at what these two stories together are telling us about the moment Port Charles is in and where the rest of the summer is taking everyone. Both stories are about absence creating space. The stalker's threat to Kai, and through Kai, to Trina, exists in the space that inattention creates. Everyone around Trina knows she is building something exciting in her music career. Everyone is watching the fake romance with Gio unfold. Nobody is watching the person in the shadows who has been watching Trina for over a year with intentions that the digital removal of Kai from that photograph made very clear. The break between Jason and Britt creates a different kind of space. Not a dangerous one, a necessary one. Jason stepping back from what cannot work right now opens the path for what can work. Tristan circling Britt's story with the patient awareness of someone who sees what is there even when she is not fully available to see it yet. The rescue that is coming. When Anna's crisis finally produces the threat to Britt that the summer has been building, is the moment that turns Tristan from presence to participant in the story of Britt's heart. Both of these spaces are going to be filled. The stalker filling the space around TRINA'S inattention with danger. Tristan filling the space that Jason's honest departure creates with something Britt did not expect and did not plan for, and is going to need more than she currently knows.